episode 214. My name is Hagen. That's Brett. Brought to you guys by Chinook Cedar. Use the code SKIPPERSVIEW for 10% discount out there. Great seeds, as always. I told you about them. Go check them out. Great seeds. And also go check out Stat Soldier. Dean just dropped a blog on it a few days ago talking about his website. You have top 10 lists. You can compare players. You have like the player cards, like a savant type thing. So it's a really cool website. Go check it out. It's still in the testing phase right now. So test it out. If there's any issues, let them know. If there's anything you see it's wrong with it. But go test it out, see what it looks like. It's a pretty cool website. Definitely highly recommend going and checking that out. Let's dive into this. Obviously, me and you just came off a big weekend of college football. Both of our teams got the win, which is good for both of us. But let's dive into this. Obviously, let's start with the Cy Young race. We got Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens, where it's looking like they have the awards pretty much wrapped up already. I mean, Skubal's minus 7,000 right now on books. Skeens is minus 50,000. So Skeens is a for sure lock pretty much to win the award already. And Skubal, especially with that last start from Garrett Crochet where he gave up 7 runs, it seems like this is going to be Skubal's award. He's going to win back-to-back Cy Youngs. And he could be the first one to win back unanimous Cy Youngs if he does get all 30 votes by that since Pedro Martinez, and I believe 1999 and 2000, which would be incredible to see from Tarek Skubal. I mean, he's reaching peaks that we have not seen very often in this game. Just in my time of being a baseball fan, he's already reaching peaks as one of the best ever that I've seen. And Paul Skeens, we already know. I mean, he's a 1.98 ERA this year. He's 10-9, has a winning record finally. He's third in the league in strikeouts with 195. He has a .94 WHIP, which is fourth best in all of baseball. And now he's got over 300 innings in his career, 306 innings over 52 starts. He has a 1.97 ERA in his career. It's incredible what we're doing. This is arguably one of the best starts to a pitching career we've ever seen, Brett.
Dude, let's talk about Skubal first on my perspective on this. Like, people don't realize back-to-back Cy Youngs does not happen often. In fact, according to my quick search here, it looks like 10 pitchers have done it, and it looks like or 11 pitchers have done it. We're talking Roger Clemens. We're talking Pedro. We're talking the big unit Randy Johnson, Lincecum, Clayton Kershaw, Scherzer, DeGrom, Denny McLain, Jim Palmer, Sandy Koufax. These are the biggest names in baseball history when it comes to pitching. I think this is nuts if Tarek Skubal pulls this off, because Tarek Skubal's name is now going to be amongst the greats. A lot of those guys are Hall of Famers, and the ones who are not, very good pitchers, or maybe used a little too many steroids. But the point is, Tarek Skubal is among the greats now. This is the top 11, 12 pitchers all time. Obviously, we're missing a few guys' names here. We're not naming every pitcher that's ever pitched in baseball that's been outstanding. But back-to-back is something special. That's 2 years of straight dominance. And then, he's got one less start than Skeens, but he's number one in WHIP. He's number one in strikeouts by, a good margin right here. Skeens is number 3 with 195. Skubal's got 222. There's only one guy in between them. If you want to pull that out, I don't even know who that is right now. But what Skubal and Skeens are both doing, respectively, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And then talking about Paul Skeens, pivoting from Skubal, Skeens has a winning record on the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates. Let that sink in. He's got double-digit wins with the Pirates, who we've not only us, every media outlet, even Pirates beat writers and stuff, they've been hating on the Pirates all year. And it's not really because of all the players. There are guys who are likable on that team, like Paul Skeens. It's management. It's the way that they don't be aggressive to support their what looks like it's going to be an all-star pitching staff here next year once Jared Jones, and if Jared Jones gets the full form. We're talking Skeens, Chandler, who looks, like he can be something in this league. Mitch Keller, we know, has had great, phenomenal starts. I don't know. I love it. I love it for baseball. I really want Paul Skeens to be sick, especially because I do have his autograph on First Bowman, but selfishly. But no, Paul Skeens, I don't know if I've told you this story about that autograph, and I'll sum up Paul Skeens and why I want him to win right here. It was a AAA game, and the long story short is people were waiting for this guy's autograph, and in the dugout, he looked miserable. He looked miserable, not because, he hated that he was playing in the minors. It was, whether he thought he should be up or not, which he clearly should have been up in the big leagues sooner rather than later. It was that he's a competitor. He wanted to be at the top level. He's always wanted to. That's why he left Air Force to go pitch at LSU and win a World Series in college baseball. Paul Skeens waited there after this game. It was a cold, misty night in Indianapolis. Everyone was wearing sweatshirts. It was a cold night. I was wearing pants. And he spent a half hour signing shit for kids and people like myself who are creepy and went up and waited forever. But he's a good dude. He seems to be a really solid dude, and that's why I want him to win.
I mean, everything I've heard from Paul Skeens is a great dude. Obviously, there was the videos that you've seen from exactly what you were talking about, of him staying after, making sure every single person that waited in line to get his autograph made sure he got it. In AAA start, when everybody knew that normally when people that good, you don't really see them sticking around to sign every single autograph because they have better things to do. So it's just great to see. He's just a great dude all around. I mean, and like you said too, Paul Skeens is just a competitor. He wants to win. Like they ask him in his interviews all this stuff of, it's almost like a Nikola Jokic type of thing where they tell him all these stats. Oh, you're in this with LeBron and Michael Jordan. He's like, I really do not care. They just want to win, which is I think it's incredible. And I mean, Tangle Tiger, he put out a great tweet about it. I'm glad he brought up the win-loss record. How he has a winning record right now, because I hope he finished with a losing record, because I want to see a Cy Young with a losing record. Tango Tiger put out a tweet about it that said that would be the greatest thing to happen. That would be the greatest thing to happen at the win-loss conception, would be Paul Skeens winning this Cy Young with a losing record. He said Felix dug the hole, DeGrom put the coffin in it, Skeens will bury it for all time. So I think that'd be incredible if Paul Skeens could actually do that. I just love that, especially I'm not a big wins guy by any means. I think it's a very overrated stat, but it would be awesome to see Paul Skeens do it, especially after DeGrom barely got it. I believe he had a 10-9 record, just the same as Skeens does right now when he won it back in 2018. So it would be incredible to see Paul Skeens do that.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the playoff field. Hey, you want to lead us off with the American League?
Yes, right now we have Toronto, Detroit, Houston. With the top three seeds right now, it would be Toronto and Detroit getting the two buys right now, which I don't think anyone at the beginning of the year would have told you those were two teams that would get the buy. And then the wild card, you get the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mariners. We talked about a little bit last week. Texas is still their game and a half back. Kansas City's 2 games back. Cleveland's 2.5, and Tampa Bay's still 4 games back from the last time we talked. So there's a lot more teams in this that still have a chance still. Obviously, a good week or a bad week from any of these teams can really change, especially we've got about 20 games left, 15, 20 games left. So you have a bad week, you can really be screwed over here now, especially with Seattle. I know they just put up 18 runs today in a very big win, but they've been skidding lately. They can't keep doing that because there's teams right on their heels that if they just win a few games and they win a few games, they'll come up and they will take their spot from them. So it's going to be a big week for them. Then we got in the National League, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. They're right now, they have the 2 top seeds. They're going to get the buys there. Milwaukee's going to finish with the best record in baseball this year. Then you got the Dodgers winning the division still right now. And then you got the Cubs, Padres, and Mets over there in the wild card. And following that, you got the San Francisco Giants and Cincinnati Reds are both 4 games back. The Diamondbacks are 4.5, as well as the Cardinals are 4.5 as well. So it's looking like unless the Mets or the Padres just ultimately collapse here and they can't win baseball games, they're going to take those spots the way it's looked like that for a while now. I know San Francisco's played great lately. I know Cincinnati, they could sneak up on the Mets a little bit more, but I just don't really see that really happening here. If anything, the Mets have caught up to the Padres more.
Yeah, what I'll say is I'll jump back to the American League a little bit. Probably should have prefaced running through a couple of these teams and just kind of figuring out what we think is going to happen here. So I'll give my take on the American League. And Yankees, obviously, massive week. Go on to not only take 2 of 3 from Houston, they take 2 of 3 from Toronto. And if you asked any Yankees fan the week before that, I don't think that anyone would say that was going to happen. Obviously, if you're delusional a little bit, and when I say the week before that, I mean when they played real competition. Obviously, they took down the White Sox and the Nationals, but they lost 3 of 4 to Boston, and that was August 21st through the 24th. So a little bit less than 2 weeks ago, Boston kind of manhandled this team in New York, and I wasn't impressed with wins against the White Sox and or the Nationals. I just didn't think that was something to really, the Yankees have proven they could do that. They always beat up on inferior competition. Then they get, body bagged by, Big Bad Wolf, whoever that is. And that seems to be the trend over the last decade. So I just want to say the Yankees, they are 2 games back now on Toronto in the division. And if you look at it, Toronto has to go play Houston. So this is a huge series for the American League. For Seattle, for Houston, for the Yankees, for Toronto, for the Red Sox. A lot of teams are looking at this series about what's going to happen this week. And then Toronto's got to go play Baltimore. They got to go at Tampa, at Kansas City, who's fighting for their life right now, versus Boston, versus Tampa. Tampa could play. Spoiler alert. Tampa's 7-3 in their last 10. Yeah, they just got swept. But they were on a 7-game win streak. And Junior Camaro's there. We know the guys. Tampa's always playing kind of like that mischievous team. So who knows what's up their sleeve? They could really play spoiler to Toronto's season from the last, how many months now Toronto's now owned the AL East in terms of like owning first place. Who's to say? Especially if you look at the Yankees, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago that the Yankees have an easier schedule coming up. I know, and this is when Dean was on the show. How we preface like the schedule in baseball is not as like it's not as big as like basketball or football, where it's like football. If you're playing a tough schedule, you get banged up week to week. That's really tough to come back from. Like baseball, random games happen. You could take a game here, take 2 or 3 there. It's all weird, but now the Yankees, they got Detroit, obviously winning the AL Central, at Boston, at Minnesota, at Baltimore, versus Chicago White Sox, home against Baltimore. So the last 10, 11 games, the last 10 games of the Yankee season are to bad teams. And then Twins, they're obviously no one to be like frightened by. And now I say that the Yankees are going to get swept at Minnesota. You watch. But I think the Yankees have a carved path here. And then looking at the Red Sox, who morale's kind of been lost a little bit. It's at least it seems like that with the Roman Anthony news. They got to go play at Vegas. They got to play the Yankees. They play Vegas again, and then they go to at Tampa, and then they go to Toronto, and then they're home against Detroit for the last series of the year. Boston kind of has a big schedule as well coming up. So I don't think that the Texas Rangers are going to do it, but it's not out of the question for the Royals or the Rangers to sneak in there over Boston or even Toronto if things should go south in Toronto this week with Houston. Because if, who's to say? I think it's really interesting, the American League East. I took a good look at this before the episode.
I mean, I think you could say just the American League in whole, especially the American League East, especially obviously the Blue Jays had the lead, like you said, but they have been playing mediocre baseball recently. It's nothing too special recently what they've been doing here, but I think in the American League as a whole, I remember I asked this question the other day was who's going to go to the World Series? Like, who do you feel confident? Like, who are your teams right now if you had to pick? And I couldn't give an answer in the American League because the National League, I know the Dodgers have really struggled recently, 3-7 in their last 10, but I feel very confident about the Dodgers in a postseason series, just like being able to turn it on. I feel the same way about the Padres as well, even though they've been struggling. I think the Brewers, I don't know. The Brewers and the Phillies are a little bit questionable to me. Phillies just because you don't have Wheeler anymore. Obviously, Christopher Sanchez, who's a full ace at this moment. But in the American League, I look around. I don't think there's a team I look at that stands out. Like, oh, yeah, this team's going to be there. Because after last season's postseason for the Yankees, I can't trust that team in the playoffs. I can't. If you can't run the bases and play defense, I can't trust you to go to the World Series. The Seattle's, they have big issues. The Red Sox, they had some injuries. Roman Anthony's went down. We talked about that a couple episodes ago. Houston, they're not the old Houston. They'd have to they're still a very good team, yes, but they're not the old Houston Astros with the Bregmans and the Tuckers. I look at this too, and obviously the Tigers have struggled a lot for the last couple of months. It's almost like the first time all year that I kind of believe in the Toronto Blue Jays to have a chance to make the World Series.
Yeah, I and what I was trying to say earlier, good correction. I was talking like the American League as a whole is just way more interesting than the National League. Like I feel the National League, when you jump to it and look at the standings, you got I include in the teams that could still fret around and like compete is anyone who's within 5 games. I know 5 games back when 19 games or so left to play is insanely hard to overcome, but it's not, you are not mathematically eliminated. So I'm keeping them in as someone who can move up. And that's like San Fran, Cincy, Arizona, St. Louis. They're all 4 games back or more, 4 or 4.5. I think the National League if no one gets hot right before the playoffs, Dodgers are taking it. They're just gonna like out duel you in a series. If someone gets hot, they might be able to knock off LA. That's my thought about the National League. For the American League, right now, like the hottest team is like, if you look at the American League teams out of the ones who are competing right now, it's probably Tampa, who's 4 games back in the wild card. There's no teams here like Kansas City just had Bobby Witt get an MRI. You had Seth Lugo hit the IL. Cleveland's been, they've been around, but they've been around for a decade, right? And then like you look at the Yankees, yeah, they're catching a little fire right now, and that's awesome. I don't want to get too hyped, but the Yankees might be the second hottest team in the American League at this time. It's really who's hot in the American League is going to get there. That's really the bottom line. The last 10 games or so, who catches fire?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a way to put it is who's playing the best baseball at the best time, because we all know baseball's more than any other sport. It's just more on if you're playing baseball when the playoffs hit, are you playing your best baseball? Because you see every single year those teams that are the best teams in the league, and they have a bad 3 games and your season's over. Like you just have a bad couple of games and your season's over. So you really have to be playing great baseball at the right time, which I think, like you said, the American League, it's such a toss-up right now. It's just going to be, I mean, I couldn't dial in on a team and just say, oh, that's the team. Or the National League, I can say, I can pretty much pick any of those 6 teams, and I could feel pretty confident in my pick there. I would obviously lean Dodgers there. I don't know how you wouldn't lean them, especially with them playing bad. But I mean, the National League is it's a gauntlet. Whoever is going to come out of the National League, you are going to be facing an absolute gauntlet. And I'm glad you brought up too about how 4 games back is nothing too crazy. Obviously, it's a little crazy, but it's still a chance to get in there, especially when the last team that has the wild card spot right now is the Mets, and we all know the Mets are known for having some collapses here in September.
Yeah, I kind of I used to as a kid, like when you're in school and everyone's like, F the Yankees, F the Mets, like being a New York kid is like, I didn't like the Mets. Nowadays, like, I have no problem with the Mets. I hope they win. Like, why would I want to see the Dodgers win? The Padres would be cool because it's like, it's the Padres. And people would be like, what? It's because they played little brother to the Dodgers for so many years now. And like, they have the talent to deliver like a sucker punch to the LA and they totally could take out the Dodgers in the series. I truly believe that. And I would love to see it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the Padres are such a good team. I mean, last year, whoever was going to win that Dodgers-Padres series, I will stand on it, was going to win the World Series. They had the Dodgers on the ropes, then they didn't score for, I believe, 27 innings in a row. So I'm also a very closeted San Diego Padres fan. I follow them a very good amount. So I would love to see the San Diego Padres win as well.
Like, I feel like the National League in terms of like, playoff contenders, like, they're all very likable except for the Phillies and Dodgers. Like, people don't like the Phillies. People don't like the Dodgers. And like, I don't have a problem with Phillies, but a lot of people do have a problem with Philly. That's like a known thing. And then I think that, maybe the Chicago Cubs, but I think that hatred's more from like the Midwest. It's like people are Reds fans in Indiana or you're Cubs fans. And like Reds fans do not like Cubs fans. Like, it makes sense. Same division. And it's like, the team who's had more success in the last 25 years. I get it. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to talk about in the playoffs? In the American League, maybe it's just because I'm a biased Yankee fan, but like, there's really no one I'm rooting for in the American League to win besides the Yankees. The only team I would really want to see go get one is Seattle. And you know this about me. I love Seattle. Like, I have no hatred to Seattle. And they've had too many good players in their history. Like, and not good players. We're talking elite players that come out of Seattle and just like, they don't have any hardware to show for it. And I think like between Griffey Jr., Ichiro, Randy Johnson, King Felix, Julio, Cal Raleigh, all these guys, and I'm sure I'm missing a few off the top of my head, I want to see one of them win the World Series at some point, like especially Julio. But anything,
I mean, Seattle,
what's up?
I was just going to say Seattle would be a really cool team to see win it. Obviously, I just barely said I'm a closeted Padres fan. You might be the biggest closeted Mariners fan that I've ever met.
Closet, dude. You don't be surprised one day if we hang out and I'm wearing a Seattle Mariners jersey. I definitely am going to buy one at some point in my time when I have some extra income. Um, but let's keep going. That's enough about the playoffs for now because there's a lot of even though we're coming to the end, there's still a lot of baseball to be played. A lot of baseball to be played before the playoffs, and a lot of things can shake up and stir these current standings. Let's have why don't you lead us off about actually the Dodger pitcher Yamamoto and his recent start.
Obviously, he had a phenomenal start last night. Obviously, he took a no-hitter in the ninth inning last night. It was 1 out away from the ninth inning, and then on a 2-1 pitch to Jackson Holiday, threw a cutter inside, hit his spot perfectly. He overlaid it with the fastball pretty well, too. Just a great piece of hitting, honestly, by Jackson Holiday. Hit a home run off him, barely got out. Wish you would have saw a little more of an effort from Pages to try and rob that instead of just watching over the stands. But that was a great start of Yamamoto. Obviously, 8 and 2 10 Ks. He's incredible. I mean, Yamamoto is one of my favorite pitchers to watch on the baseball this year. It does suck to see a guy when they get that close to a no hitter lose it, especially because I believe we haven't had a no hitter yet this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you just love to see, especially a guy when you get that close and deep into the game. But the crazy part to me too was not even the no hitter getting broke up by a home run when we had 1 out to get 2 more strikes to get. It's the fact that the Dodgers lost the game after. They were up 3-0 on going into the inning, and they ended up losing the game, which I thought was insane.
Yeah, and shame on me. I did not realize how good Yamamoto was this year. I know he's been having a good year, but dude, Yahoo Fantasy right now, he's ranked 26 overall. Through 27 starts, he has 11 wins, he has a 2.72 ERA with a 101 WHIP and 177 strikeouts in 155 innings. That's a stud. And he's not even their second or third best pitcher when fully healthy. Technically he is right now by his stats, but we all know we'd probably take Blake Snell, and I don't know if Kershaw give me 6, I might take Kershaw over Yamamoto. I know that's crazy, but in Clayton we trust, dude. I'll never turn my back on Old Faithful.
I mean, yeah, like you're saying, he's had a very underrated season. I mean, since he came into the big leagues too, he's got over 45 starts. He has a 2.82 ERA in his career, over 245 innings. I mean, obviously he's had a few injury issues. And he has some blips too. He's had a few really bad starts this year, which I think that's probably the reason why you don't think about how good of a season he's actually doing, is because you just remember those bad starts. But Yamamoto is a very consistent pitcher, and he's shown that already. He's only 27 years old. There's a reason why he's the highest paid pitcher in Major League Baseball history. I get it was the age, the fact he came over at 26 years old. You don't see pitchers hit free agency that soon. But he's an incredible pitcher. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in the world. Very underrated season, and he's probably going to finish top 5 in the Cy Young voting this year.
I think he might. It's kind of crazy. He definitely might. Let's keep going though. Let's talk about Aroldis Chapman. So you threw this in right before the episode.
Yeah, I mean, after today, he struck out 4 batters in 1 inning today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Obviously, the pass ball got through, so faced 4 batters, struck them all out. The Aroldis Chapman now, it's been 50 straight batters that he has not allowed a hit. This is spanning over 17 appearances. That's the second longest streak in Major League Baseball since 1901. And that was put out there by Bob Nightingale. I mean, it's incredible what this guy's doing. He's 37 years old, and he's having the best year of his career. It's going to go down as one of the best reliever seasons of all time. He has a sub-1 ERA right now as we speak. I mean, it's absurd what he's doing. They tell him this dude has struggled with walk issues his entire career. Rightfully so. You throw 104 miles an hour, you're probably going to struggle controlling the baseball a little bit. And then the pitch comm, he hears inside fastball, and he actually thinks for the first time I should aim my fastball instead of just throwing it down the middle. Try to throw it down the middle as hard as I can. Thinks about throwing his fastball to a location for the first time in his life at age 37, and now he's having one of the best seasons we've ever seen from a reliever.
Dude, it's unexplainable what he's doing at age 37. And I don't think anyone in the baseball world, I will say this, credit to one person in my life, and shout out to my old manager, Pat Egan, from my first job. Pat, little fun story for you, Hagen, while we're on here. Pat was a left-handed pitcher in college. He was called by his agent saying, yeah, you're getting drafted. Don't worry about it. Pat got Tommy John. He didn't get Tommy John. He had some massive shoulder surgery, never pitched the same way again. Long story short, I don't think he ended up getting drafted. But he was a good pitcher for a long time. Prior to that, Pat, when we were talking about the number one athletes in the world, Pat was and Pat is a Yankee fan. This is pre Chapman to the Yankees. He said Aroldis Chapman's the most athletic athlete in baseball. Kind of a hot take at the time. You look at it now and you're like, holy shit, like he was on to something. Like, and I want to make sure, like, I'm gonna text him actually, tell him to listen to this episode. But like, this is Chapman, maybe he's just one of the most under the radar athletes we have in the game. We talk about guys like Bobby Witt Jr. and Trey Turner with his cool slides and all this. Chapman doesn't get to show all that because he's on the mound. Maybe his athleticism is just that much why he's still able to shove at 37 years old. That's my one explanation for it, because it is unexplainable, as I started out with. But I thought that was really cool, and it was something I remember about Aroldis Chapman in his career, like his long career now, because we've been watching him for well over a decade now in baseball, and he's been a big name since his first days as a starter with the Reds. But cool stuff out of Chapman. Cool stuff on the field.
Very cool stuff. And I think Aroldis Chapman, too, he is a very big athlete. Obviously, he's 6'4", 235, still throwing gas, still doing it at age 37. He's obviously just able to. The dude lifts like crazy. It was very fitting. I saw some post out there that in his extension press conference, he was wearing a Red Sox strength and conditioning shirt, which everyone thought was pretty fitting.
Love that. Love that. All right. Next, we're going to jump to the news and injuries of the week. What were we saying?
I was just going to run through the injuries for you. I was going to say, start over here.
Let's do it.
Justin, we've talked about him a little bit with his strikeout numbers on how he's going to jump. We brought up how he can pass Gaylord Perry here coming up, which he did. He now is 8th all-time in strikeouts in Major League Baseball history. We're 3,535 now. Just incredible to see Verlander do this. It's going to be really cool to see where he ends up on this list. If he calls it quits after this year, it seems like from everything I've seen, he wants to come back and pitch again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's still out there. I mean, we talked about how gritty he's been lately, but really cool stuff from Justin Verlander there. And obviously, someone you talked about a little bit earlier. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what were you saying?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if Verlander gets 5 more starts, he's for sure passing Don Sutton for number 7 on this list at 3,574. So he's just on, about 30, 35 strikeouts away. I think he could do it in 5 more starts, maybe 7 more starts. And then after that, he's essentially got only Seaver really in his way before he hits Blyleven at 5 for 3,701. So Verlander plays 1 more year. He's getting in the top 5 all time. We're at that point now where we could have that discussion about Verlander.
I mean, it's for sure close enough. Obviously, he's just barely below a 9K per nine, I believe, at this moment. But obviously, he's thrown a lot of innings this year for a 42-year-old pitcher. So this seems like something especially that he's really chasing, because he's already shown enough to this game. I know it's hard to give away from a sport when you've been in the league for almost 20 years, almost half your life you've been playing the sport professionally for that mean. But I know it's hard to give up a sport, but he's definitely chasing that.
Dude, if I'm Justin Verlander, I'm finding preferably, go to Miami, go work with Bendix, become the, VP of pitching, be the pitching department leader, and go play golf every day. Like that sounds like a sick life. And Bendix would hire him in a second. Like, who's not hiring Justin Verlander to like take over the reins for the pitching department? Like, oh, no one. That'd be really cool. Maybe that's just my dream to play golf in Miami all the time. But dude, Kansas City. So we mentioned earlier, Bobby Witt underwent an MRI on Saturday. So it looks like he's having back spasms. Are you worried about Bobby Witt long term right now, or with this? Like, and when I say long term, I mean for this season.
I think you have to be when your team's 2.5 games out of the wild card, and your best player, who Bobby Witt is one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball, goes down. Especially at this time, there's about 15 to 20 games left. Where even if it's just a weak injury, like every game matters to this team right now. And we talked about it. This team drops off pretty heavily outside Bobby Witt Jr. He might be the most valuable player to an organization in all of baseball right now, just because of how much his health depends. Their success depends on his health and him being on the field.
Absolutely. And I did mention earlier too, Seth Lugo also got sent to the IL. He's dealing with a lower back strain as well, funny enough. So this is retroactive to September 1st. He's had a 7.51 ERA in the second half this year. So, and like, it makes a lot of sense that he's injured considering he was the runner up for the Cy Young last year. Like, this is not the pitcher Seth Lugo can be this second half. Good to see him at least tending to this injury, taking some time off to get right, because we all want to see a healthy Seth Lugo come 2026. Let's keep moving though. What do we got on this? We got Spencer Arrighetti. He went on the 15-day IL with right elbow inflammation, which stinks. Arrighetti's had a really injury-ridden season. I had a lot of hopes for him in fantasy. I took him everywhere, as last year he had like 2, maybe 3 games with double-digit strikeouts, and I was like, this is the guy. He's going to be a dog when he's pitching, and I got burned by him this year due to health. Are you a Spencer Arrighetti guy? Do you follow him well, or no, just like know of him?
I admittedly have not really dove deep into him and his profile at all by any means. Obviously, I enjoy pitching. There's really no one in Major League Baseball I don't like. So I do like watching him pitch, but I have not watched him that much, honestly, more just his numbers.
The good news is, though, and I was doing a quick search just to see what's going on with him at this point. So it looks like they avoided the headline of this thing is they avoided the worst case scenario. So he's going to be out for the rest of the regular season. I don't think that surgery or anything like that is in talks right now, but that would be a real bummer because Arrighetti's a nice little pitcher for Houston.
I mean, yeah, let's hope he can at least come back and nothing big, because obviously he has great talent. He can be a very pivotal pitcher for Houston, especially when the rotation doesn't look that great after you get past the Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez.
Yeah. Do you want to keep going down the list?
Yeah, I mean, Alex Cobb for the Detroit Tigers, he's going to miss the entire rest of the season. He's 37 years old. He's going to undergo some hip surgery to address what's kept him off the field this entire season. It's had some retirement talks in there after this surgery, but that decision won't be made until the offseason is what we're hearing. But this does suck because obviously Alex Cobb too. This guy sucks. He's been trying to get on the field all season long. Hasn't been able to do it. He had a good stretch last year when he got healthy. I mean, he's been one of those guys where obviously he's struggled with injuries a lot the last couple of years. So it just sucks to see, especially the body's just breaking down. You're getting older, coming down to the end of a career. So I hope he can at least get one more healthy season out of him before he does retire, if this is not the one that makes decide on that decision.
Dude, I did not realize Alex Cobb was 37 years old. That's wild. I felt like he was like 31 tops. Hopefully he doesn't have to retire. Let's keep going, though. We got a few more things to talk about, and then we'll get to the conclusion of this episode. We got Los Angeles catcher Dalton Rushing. He hit the 10-day IL. This is notable as Rushing has been filling in for Will Smith. So they're both now in the IL. He has a right shin contusion. So the AAA catcher, Chucky Robinson, can't make up the name, is going to be joining the Dodgers in the meantime. Dodgers might not win the division. They have a lot of injuries racking up right now. And I thought some of them would be back. I think are the Padres 1 game back?
The Padres, 1 game back right now.
And I know someone's going to read into that, Rushing's the one that tipped over the camel here, or what's the expression? Whatever it is, it broke the camel's back, the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't think that's it, but it's just they're 1 game up. They keep having guys hit the IL, and there's not a lot of games that this is going to be fought to the end. Very much so. This is going to be the last game or 2 of the season. This is going to be decided, this division.
Oh, it's for sure down to the wire. And I mean, I have the Padres schedule up here. Obviously, you play the Reds, who are right behind you in the wild card race. And then you get the Rockies. That should be. I know they struggle against the Rockies, but you got to win 3 out of 4 against that. Then you play the Mets. Then you have the White Sox. And then you have the Brewers and the Diamondbacks to close it out. So they have a lot of free wins in there, but they have a lot of tough wins in there as well.
For sure. For sure. I didn't look too much into this. Did you get a chance to review this? This is like the Diamondbacks deal for Chase Field to remain there in Arizona. So the Arizona governor signed a bill, and it was, I guess, they approved $500 million for renovations. I don't understand this stuff. Like, why does the Arizona governor have to get involved? And like, is it a publicly owned stadium? Is that what's going on with Chase Field?
I admittedly do not know if that is the case, but I would assume that is, though, if they're making the deal here. Obviously, just from what this story has came out and everything, it seems like they own their own field.
It says the Diamondbacks committed to investing at least $250 million of team money in addition to diverted sales and income taxes from the ballpark. So I don't understand it. It probably is like wasn't a publicly financed stadium. It was not a privately financed stadium. Like, I think these owners got to just, going forward, like if you're going to have a new owner come in to purchase a team, there's got to be some sort of, and this is across all stadiums and all pro sports. Like, if you're the owner, you're buying the field and like all that. Like, I don't think that the state should be involved at all. Like, I just don't. I feel that, I don't know. We can get into a long discussion about that. I'm not going to do that right now. And let's talk about this Phillies fan. This Phillies fan at the Marlins game. So you watched the video, correct?
Correct.
Okay. For those who don't know, I'm not pulling up the video because it's like you really just got to watch it and listen to it, and it's going to be bad on the audio here to like listen to. Essentially, Harrison Bader hit a bomb. A guy ran over and grabbed the ball like any other home run that's been hit in the history of like Major League Parks. People run for the balls and grab them. Obviously, some balls are way more contested, like Barry Bonds' big home run, Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 ball. Like, we know, like, balls that are going to be worth money. Yeah, people are like, but that is part of the game. That is part of the game. Is like the fan. It's the most, I feel like out of any pro sports league, baseball gives out the most souvenirs to kids and to fans by hitting all these balls out of the field of play during a game. You see the numbers of balls that like the MLB goes through a year. These are cool special things. Harrison Bader hits the bomb. Guy runs over, grabs the ball, gives it immediately to what I believe to be his son. A woman runs over, and obviously she looked like a typical Karen, short hair. Just she was, not having it. That she thought that this guy robbed her of the ball, screamed at him, and he was just like, "Whoa, like what? Like, what are you talking about? I saw a ball get hit, and I ran over to grab it, and I grabbed it off the floor." Like, long story short, I think he handled it so well. He handled it so well. If that were me, I would have freaked out on the woman. He just like told the sign, he's like, "Give me the ball," grabbed the ball, gave it to her, and like gave her a hand signal, like, "Go away." I'm not one to not want people to enjoy the game of baseball, but I can tell you two things are for sure. That woman probably not ever going back to a baseball game because of the way she was heckled after it. Like, everyone was like yelling at her, cursing at her, rightfully so. And she got up and she was giving people the finger. But we don't want her in baseball as fans. Like, I thought this was terrible. Obviously there's a few things that we don't know, right? There's two sides of all stories. I don't know if he actually grabbed it out of her hand. We didn't see that footage. It's too zoomed in. I mean, not zoomed in enough. We wouldn't have seen. Two, I don't know if she was drinking and maybe she just like made a dumb mistake. That happens. But like, this was an awful display of fanmanship, especially to take a ball from a kid who like did an interview with one of the staff members who came over and gave him a bag and stuff like that. And then he ended up getting a signed bat by Harrison Bader after the game. But the woman was like, "Oh, like blah blah blah," and he whispered, like, says to her, "It's like his birthday. Like, not that day. I think he said it was like in a couple days, but he was, and like this woman just stole a ball from him." Hagen, am I overreacting for being this pissed? Like, I thought this was trash behavior.
No, not at all. I mean, a little kid trying to get a baseball, that's every kid's dream. How many times you go to a game, you see all the kids with their gloves. Like, it's one of the coolest things to see all those little kids. We were all those kids when you went to a game as a kid. You wanted the ball. You were trying to get a ball from the players. You wanted the home run ball hit to you. If every time you sat in the outfield, you were like, go to be the time I get a home run ball. So I don't think you're overreacting by any means at all. I mean, she was being a Karen. That's the easy way to put it. That's what my generation would probably call that. But I did think it was great that Harrison Bader met the kid after the game, gave him the signed bat. I thought that was a great gesture by the Phillies organization, Harrison Bader as well, because obviously Harrison Bader didn't have to go and do that. The Phillies didn't have to invite that kid in. They could just give him the bag. That's it. I thought that was a great gesture by the Phillies organization and Harrison Bader to make sure the kid got what he deserved. Obviously, he ended up with the bat at the end there, which I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and like that's the last thing about the last thing I'll say to this subject is just like, again, kudos to that father, because I could tell you and I love, dude, my dad was a stand-up guy. If that happened to my dad, he would and he gave me the ball, he would have lost it on this woman. Lost it. He would have been calling security. He'd be in her face screaming. This guy handled it so well. That was the one thing I took from it. Like he was just like, go away from me. I'm not dealing with you. Kudos to him. I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him. I'll probably never meet him in my life. It was just a really cool moment. So if this ever gets back to him, kudos to you, sir. That was really, class act moment. Just like, all right, I'm not setting a bad example for my son and getting into an altercation at a baseball game. Like it's baseball. Let's move on, though. Why don't you lead us through Davey Johnson, as he will be missed and mourned. He is also a former Met manager.
Yeah, if you guys haven't heard by now, Davey Johnson, the old Mets manager, was manager of the team back in '86 when they won the World Series there. He passed away on Friday. Rest in peace to him. Obviously, it's sad seeing one of these, especially from a guy who was a former All-Star second baseman and obviously managed the Mets, the Reds, the Orioles, Dodgers, and Nationals. I mean, he made the majors in 1965 as a player. And after a 3-year managerial stint in D.C., he got out of baseball in 2013. So he was in baseball for a very long time. He achieved the most with the Mets, though, over 7 seasons with the Mets. He went 595 and 417. 2 NL East titles, and most obviously the 86 World Series championship. So he's as a Mets fan, you hear a lot about Davey Johnson. I believe he is the franchise leader in wins as a manager. I could be wrong. I know he's in the top 5 for sure. But the Orioles, yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame for both the Orioles and the Mets. I mean, it sucks seeing him pass away, but it's really cool though to see when this does happen. You get to relive their careers a little bit and talk about them, because obviously Davey Johnson meant a lot as a Mets fan. You see a lot. He meant a lot to the Mets organization. He kind of was a very good players manager too. Seemed like a great guy you'd want to manage for you. It seemed like he was the right man though for those '86 Mets though.
Yeah, this is literally the last Mets manager to win a World Series. It's crazy. It doesn't seem like 1986 is that long ago, but 1986 is, almost 40 years ago at this point. That's wild. And this guy, he's like Hagan said, he's a baseball lifer. So rest in peace, and prayers and thoughts out to the family. Obviously going through the mourning stage right now. But yeah, baseball lost a good one. The last thing sorry.
I was going to say, you said 86 doesn't seem like it was that long ago. As a 21-year-old Mets fan, 86 feels like an eternity ago.
That's fair. Hey, you know what? 2009 seems like an eternity to go for Yankees fans right now. It's like, it's been 15 years. How many millions have they spent on players and yielded nothing? The last thing I'm going to talk about, so of course it's a Dodgers prospect making some absurd head noise, but we gotta talk about Kendall George. So these stats might be like a day off. So if you're listening and you're a really big Dodgers or Kendall George fan for some reason, I apologize if I'm off. But I saw this and I was like, I am totally going to talk about it. So Kendall George has stolen 101 bags so far this season in the minor leagues. It's the 5th highest single season total by a minor league player since 2005. So in the past 20 years, it's the 5th highest. He's stolen 70 bases since July 1st, which is absolutely ridiculous that it's been just over 2 months. It's like a base a day, essentially, a little bit more than a base a day. And he doesn't play a game every day. And in his last 15 games, maybe he played a game or two since then, he's got 15 in his last 5 games. He's got 15 steals. It might be like 7 games now. Who knows if he stole another bag or 2? But that's like 3 bags a game. That's insane to think about. The other minor leaguers to swipe 100 bags or more in the past 20 years. Billy Hamilton, pretty good base runner. Chandler Simpson, really good base runner. Delino DeShields Jr. And then no MLB player has stolen 100 or more bases since the Cardinals' Vince Coleman did 109 back in 1987. So, dude, I think that if the Dodgers, if he's able to, like, you know, I know he's a pretty solid player, Kendall George. I actually have his auto. Funny enough, I do have his auto from First Bowman. If he pans out and he's able to hit, dude, how many bases is this guy going to steal for Los Angeles?
I mean, I don't even know what it would be. Obviously, you put up there that no one's stolen over 100 bags since 1987, which is insane. But I think doing it, obviously, the major league level is a little bit different, especially with the catchers up there. Their arms are better. Pitchers are going to be a little bit quicker to the plate, too. It's incredible, though, what he's doing. 101 bags. The craziest part to me is 70 since July 1st. That's just absurd. 15 in the past 5 days, because you also, too, you don't have – yes, you have to be fast to steal a lot of bases, but you're stealing 100 bags, you have to get on base as well. Like, I mean, I know Billy Hamilton, the reason why he was never a guy that got 100 steals is because he never got on base. He couldn't hit.
Kendall George hitting 295 right now this season with a 409 OBP. He's also OPSing 779. So he's a pretty good hitter. and he's in the high A affiliate. He's 20 years old. He might be electric in a couple of years in the big league. So that's the one stat I saw this week. I was like, yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's it for me. I don't have anything else. Hey, anything else from you?
Just quick shout out to the Colorado Rockies being the first team to achieve 100 losses this year. They're at 103 right now. Shout out to the Colorado Rockies.
Hell yeah. I will say thank you for listening. Go see our blogs. We have a ton of blogs coming out this week. I know Dean and I talked, and it sounds like between him and I, we got a bunch. I know Greg Monroe is going to be working on a nice little video, short essay for us on YouTube. We got this podcast going out. Hagen and I are going to go live again on Thursday and Sunday this week coming up. Got a lot of baseball. Go buy merch. If you can, rate us 5 stars. It'd be really appreciated if you think we deserve it. It helps us grow. And thank you for listening. Bye.